Imagine living in a world where the girls rule the planet and the men are just treated like second-rate trash. Well, for this dude right here, it's his reality because he was unlucky enough to spawn in a universe where the gender roles are reversed. To make matters worse, the strongest and most powerful are all women with not a single guy in the rankings, so it's like watching JJK and your bro Gojo is not even in the top 20. Anyways, this is Kang, and he's a special one because instead of bottom fragging in Valorant like all the other guys, he mid-frags since all the girls are the carries now. But one day, his life took a turn when a level 999 monster appeared out of nowhere and it literally ate his parents in one gulp. Unable to do anything as he was stricken with fear, he was forced to watch on as he waited for the army of girls to stop the rampaging dragon, but unfortunately, they were too slow. So now bro's on a mission to infiltrate the army they call the Hunters, the ones designated to stop high-level monsters from destroying the world. However, the catch is that almost every hunter here are all girls, so his odds of getting accepted is the same as someone trying to find an Asian person in the middle of nowhere in the African boonies. And even if Sung somehow awakens and gets accepted to become an actual one like Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter, his rank will be limited to that of a G-rank hunter with no hope of promotion. Regardless, as soon as he was able to, he enrolled in the most prestigious hunter school in the world named Daehan High School, but on his first day of school, bro quickly realized he was the only male student. For most dudes, this would be a dream come true, but since the gender roles are reversed here, his life became a living hell on day one as he was routinely targeted by every girl in the school, and not in a good way. Luckily for him though, one of his childhood friends, Hyun, attended the same high school, and she was literally the only one that was nice to him, so she tried her best to protect him whenever she can. She basically treated him like a younger brother, non-sussy Alabama style, and most girls were forced to run away from her, as she is one of the highest ranking awakened students in the entire school body. But whenever Hyun was not around to defend him, bro endured non-stop harassment in class and the hallways, even in front of the teachers, since all of them were all girls looking like they want a piece of his banana tree plantation like a true sussy baka. Nevertheless, our boy shrugged off every type of attack heading his way like an absolute sigma male as he kept his eyes only on his one goal, and that is to awaken his powers before he graduates, or all of this would be for nothing. Fast forward 2 years after his high school graduation, it's sadly revealed that bro did not awaken any special abilities even after shedding blood and tears, so now he wastes his days away waking up in the afternoon just to play Roblox and Minecraft hardcore. But one day, right before Sung was about to eat breakfast at dinner time, he got a text alert from another number that is not his usual DoorDash delivery picture, causing him to get confused as no one ever messages him. Initially, he thought it was one of those Chinese AI scam messages that pretends to be a single lady that wants a boyfriend, but much to his surprise, he instead got a message congratulating him for being chosen as an awakener. After accepting the message, bro tries to see if he gains super strength or some kind of special ability, but after half an hour of trying to figure out if something changed within him, he realized he gained no powers. As such, bro began to think he just got trolled again, but upon picking up his phone, he gets barraged by unlimited info, telling him that he has evolved into a sussy desire manager for female hunters. And as he continues to scroll through to find out more about his new job, Pro cannot believe how he wasted years of his life away just for him to become a support toy for the female hunters that have already awakened. Nonetheless, Sung is able to figure out that in exchange for being a support main using his powerful Asian rocket ship, he will be able to get stronger and gain abilities himself every time he is able to complete a sussy Baka mission. Anyways, now that our boy is a beginner-level awakener, he was able to find his skill and attributes page, which showed how he has 3 new skills under sword technique, fire magic, and healing magic, but every single one was at level 0. So the only way for him to use his brand new skills is to gain 100 awakening points, but to do that he tapped on the search for nearby hunters tab, which displayed a bunch of girls meaning a rice cake smashing, which would give him a bunch of points. Now that our boy has a goal to live for again, bro suits up and gets ready to touch grass for the first time in months as he now thinks he can become a top-ranked hunter using this new method, even though this is the sussiest thing he has ever heard of. Regardless, after getting blinded due to him not being used to seeing actual sunlight, bro took the wrong turn out of his apartment and ended up getting closer to a huge heart on the map, which would give him a whopping 80 points if he is able to successfully complete the mission. But as he stands there trying to figure out who or where it could be, the heart kept getting closer to him like some kind of Call of Duty killstreak. But then suddenly, our boy started to hear boss music. Eventually, out of the corner of Sung's eyes, he noticed Hyun walking towards him, where she then happily ganks him by teleporting forward, eagerly asking him what he is doing outside in the real world today, since that is very unlike him. After discovering that the high-level hunter worth 80 points is actually his own childhood friend, Bro began to sweat more than me when I am on the toilet trying to send a monster one out, since he got greedy and accepted the mission before he even knew who it was. Luckily for our boy though, Hyun quickly orders him to head back inside his apartment as she is super worried Bro got a loose screw since she knows Bro never heads out. As such, she heads back inside with him to make sure he is okay. As soon as both of them got back inside, Hyun rushed to the bathroom to change into more comfortable clothes, but let's just say that if our editor zoomed out just a tad bit more, then those comfortable clothes would totally be blurred. Nevertheless, the two end up enjoying a meal that our boy ended up burning, but somehow Hyun looked like she liked all of it. So after finishing it all, she offers to go do the dishes while trying her best to show off all her hunter assets. With Hyun now busy doing the dishes in a very sussy position that our boy can see from the dining table, Bro starts looking like he is letting his intrusive fuss win as he has to weigh the pros and cons of using his rocket ship against her planet Venus. Of course, Sung tells himself that he needs to do this in preparation for him to become a real man powerful enough to stand on his own, since his only childhood friend is worth over 80 points, and that is enough to give him a huge lead. However, as he imagines absolutely destroying Hyun over and over again, Bro keeps staring at her crazy fresh bakeries in real time, but it dawns on him how could he even destroy her if she is currently way more powerful than him. Suddenly, with Sung continuing to mull over whether or not he should activate clapping monarch mode, he gets a flashback to high school, where he spills the beans to Hyun about how much he hates large watermelons on the opposite gender. Usually, most people love them, but our boy is a weirdo since he hates how he constantly runs into them at school, so upon him revealing the secret about him being more of a bakery fan, Hyun smirks and attempts to show off her gifted bread factory. Unfortunately for her though, Sung did not get the hint that she was interested in being more than friends with him, after she tried to flashbang him with her double-deckers, since Bro thought it was just by accident, so she just assumed she was friend-zoned. Now back in the present, after remembering all the small details between him and Hyun over the years, he took it as a sign that she might be into him, so it looks like Bro is about to be on the move as his dragon fruit is going to be awakened. Meanwhile, as Sung tries to garner enough courage to actually begin his quest in rice cake destroying Hyun, she ends up asking our boy if she could stay the night, since it has been a while since they last hung out together. However, midway through Hyun trying to be sneaky with how she was wording things since she knows Bro is clueless, she ends up getting surprise ganked by Sung with the force of the entire Sussy Fire Nation fleet as he grabs hold of the fruits in front of him. She then loudly gasps as she thought a monster might have appeared in the room, but it turns out to just be our boy Sung, so she begins profusely blushing since she cannot believe what is happening to her right now. Bro then pulls out the Alpha Skibbity Rizzler playbook by denying how he hates ripe watermelons, claiming that he secretly loves them as big as they can be, even bigger than those Remax hot air balloons, so he basically struck gold with Hyun. He also makes up the lie that he was too embarrassed to tell her this entire time about how he felt about her, but now that 80 points is on the line, Bro channels his inner Rizzler and begins pumping out compliments about her left and right. 2 minutes later, Bro decides to initiate Protocol Supreme Sussy backup by proceeding to unleash Hyun's Labrador puppies onto the unsuspecting world, where they then instantly plop out into the open, allowing our editor to totally marvel at them for the next few minutes. Anyways, with Hyun's Cracker Barrel double-deckers now in full display, our boy goes full hand-eye coordination mode as he attempts to figure out what to do with the Invisible Clothes DLC unlocks, since he has never gone this far before. Now the crazy part here is that Hyun almost passes out from Sung just playing around with a pillow like clouds before him. So you already know things are about to get even crazier since Hyun's water fountain is already leaking massively. With the leak getting bigger by the second, a pool starts to form on the floor, causing Hyun to turn around to ask Bro to stop, since she knows if they continue any further on his quest, then there would be no way back as normal friends. Although it's clear as day she has been hoping for all of this to happen for most of her life, she still feels a bit guilty though, as this is going to be her first time ever in a sussy 1v1 duel. Nonetheless, our boy reassures Hyun that no matter what happens today, even if she goes freak mode 9000 on him during their duel, he will always be there for her, as he knows hunters need a way to release all that pent-up power due to their work. He also tells her that they will always be friends forever, and since real friends help each other out during their times of need, this is perfectly acceptable for them to continue on, as this is a two-way street. For Hyun, she will be able to unleash a part of her that should have been uncaged many years ago that will help her rise through the ranks, while for Sung, he will be able to get stronger and become a true awakened. Regardless, after finally accepting their sussy fate, Hyun agrees to not hold back her powers anymore, but as soon as she said that, our boy's dragon down below ripped a hole in his plate legs, so they quickly ran to the nearest bedroom. After repositioning like a top 100 player, our boy's eyes disappeared as he is able to make Hyun cross the finish line twice before they even got to the real cultured anime action type of beat. So after Hyun collapsed onto the closest bed frame after hitting the finish line, clothes began to fly off across the room as Bro readies himself to make sure he is able to capture all 80 points, and maybe even more as long as things goes according to his plan. However, it already seems like he has hit the ball out of the park when heart eyes began to appear on Hyun's face, even before he got to use his grilled cheesy sausage against her buttered piece of bread, all thanks to some water-breathing kiss technique. Shortly after connecting some powerful face-to-face abilities, Hyun tells him to hurry up and bring out his dragon longsword so they could finally get the real show on the road, totally worried that they might not have enough time. Bro then looks at the clock and sees that it is still early on in the evening, so he orders her to just sit back, relax, and enjoy since they basically have unlimited time together unless the world is abruptly going to end soon. Nevertheless, when it was finally time to show off our boy's Taco Bell beef burrito supreme, Hyun goes wild as she did not expect his burrito to be as large as it was, causing her to mumble about how much she loves burritos, especially the gigantic ones. As such, Hyun goes on the offensive and proceeds to take over our boy's guiding missile with absolute ease, basically making it so that it accidentally leaks some milky fuel on her due to Hyun's intense suction cup force she placed on it. After almost crossing the finish line himself, he had to stop Hyun from making him do some explosion jutsu by accident, so instead, he decided to return the favor by plopping her down back on the bed just so he could eat some vanilla-flavored cake. A few minutes later, he finished his plate of cake, but he almost drowned due to how much frosting there was, so Hyun pushed him away since she was really wanting Bro to start his invasion of her tropical island as soon as possible. Since this is also his first time summoning an offensive battering ram, Bro is not sure of what to do, but he says screw it and proceeds to drive it towards the epicenter of Hyun's defensive gates, busy wondering if it even can fit in her city. But as soon as he finally found the entrance to Hyun's inner city walls, Bro activated his ultimate called Unstoppable Force, allowing him to literally slip through his Lego, which instantly caused a reaction from his opponent. Now that the two have finally begun rice cake destroying, the sussy tables turns when Hyun abruptly tells our boy that she has changed her mind as she does not want to continue with their quest, apparently due to his Korean corn dog being too powerful. However, our boy knows she is making up an excuse since he was easily able to slip his Legos through the cracks. So he ends up calling her out for it, causing her to admit that she feels a bit shy as she never expected to go this far in their expedition. Hyun then attempts to pull out the Uno reverse Rizzler card on our boy, asking him to wait for a second as she needs time to calculate whether or not this is worth it for her to continue on as a high-level adventurer. Unfortunately for her though, Bro is immune to any kind of magical effects when he is under the status called Chad mode, and upon activating it, his eyes disappear while all his muscles begin to get bigger as if he is some kind of Mr. Olympia. After evolving into his final form, Hyun becomes speechless as she could not fathom her childhood friend becoming a true man right before her eyes, but little does she know Bro is doing all of this just so he could gain awakening points. Anyways, after grabbing hold of Hyun's hands, our boy stares into her soul and asks her to give him her precious Virgo card, to which she happily accepts with no hesitation, and upon hearing that Sung turns on beast mode to go on the attack. One blink later, Bro unleashed a torrent of manly power that would devastate any opponent even the most experienced and skilled ones would find difficult to handle, since it turns out he has been hiding a Prince Behemoth all this time without anyone knowing. And just like that, Hyun's life turned upside down as she repeatedly gets defeated at the hands of her childhood friend. And let's just say the neighbors will probably file a noise complaint after these two are done with their duel. In the end, after making Hyun pass out from the sheer force of his rocket constantly going off like Team Rocket blasting off again, a pop-up notification appeared on top of her head, which showed a heart and the number 80 within it. However, instead of gaining just 80 points, it is revealed that he gained a bonus 15, which equals 95, just because he was able to reach the bonus condition with his opponent, which meant he totally conquered the battle. Fast forward to the next morning, Bro breaks his streak of waking up either in the late afternoon or evening as he accidentally wakes up at 8 a.m. in the morning, totally wiped out and exhausted after shooting his explosion jutsu a couple times. He then notices that he has 22 unread messages from someone, so after further investigation, Bro found out that it was Hyun busy telling him how much she loves him and that she will be coming back soon for some more rice cake smashing. But after getting excited to gain more easy points from his friend, he gets another pop-up notification informing him that going after Hyun over and over again would result in earning fewer points and even point reductions. Regardless, Bro decides to allocate every free point he received to his swordsmanship skills, so it leveled it up to 3, which now makes him a real hunter hungry for more power, so he tells himself he does not mind having to look for more opponents to battle. But before our boy could get any stronger, Sung has an important decision to make as he needs to join one of 3 hunter guild associations to further his reputation and to get real non-sussy missions. Out of the 3 though, one is hidden within veils called the Aerial Foundation, so it's off limits for him right now, but the other 2, the Silver and Gold Company, and the Hunters Autonomous Association both look like prime candidates to join. As such, our boy heads over to the nearest Hunters Guild planning to join the Hunters Autonomous Association since they have the most favorable conditions and they have the most pretty sussy tends to boot. However, bro remembered that Hayyum is part of the more noble and strict Silver and Gold Company, so if she ever finds out that our boy joined the opposing guild, then it would totally be Joe over for him. And to make matters worse, both Hayyun and her mom literally live nearby, so the possibility of them finding out eventually would be at 100%, meaning that Hayyun can literally arrest him for joining the Autonomous Association. Plus, our boy has to contend with the fact that a man awakening is literally unheard of nowadays. So Sung needs to make sure he stays low-key, as the only way for him right now to gain massive amounts of awakening points is to duel his best friend. Nevertheless, our boy is dead set on joining the Autonomous Association since not only does he want to get paid way more compared to the other one, but he also wants to live his sussy beka life to the fullest, as all the freaky ones can be found here. Now fully determined to make his way up the ranks, bro swiftly enters a hunter's guild with a bunch of association members, but as soon as he entered, all eyes began to shift onto him, as being a male hunter is a rare sight in this world. After making it to the registration desk, an aloof male clerk sees our boy's shadow and instantly assumes bro is a girl without looking up, so the clerk asks him how he could be of help today. But after hearing Sung's voice when he asks if he could register for a guild here, Mr. Four Eyes quickly looked up to make sure he was not hearing things, only for him to be surprised that a man is signing up. Luckily for our boy though, after the guild clerk finished closely analyzing him for a few seconds, he gives Sung a nod before profusely apologizing for his behavior, where he then initiated the hunter registration process. Nonetheless, our boy decides to make up a fake name to try and hide his identity better, as he does not want people finding out about his true identity. As such, he chooses an alias and calls himself Kim Songchul. Shortly after giving out his fake gamer name, the clerk went to work, and upon finishing up, our boy was handed his official hunter's license with his fake name in print, so bro basically missed out on calling himself Sung Jinwoo instead. Regardless, after being handed his license and discovering that he needs to stand in line to inquire about dungeon access, bro decides to skip it as he wants to efficiently spend his time rather than waste it, so goes to get better look at the association's members. As he went around like an absolute Chad looking for his next prey, everyone he passed by gave him such intense looks, as they all look like they have a lot pent-up anger within them, but our boy is somewhat disappointed due to their low amount of points. After passing by at least a dozen other girl hunters with less than 20 points each, bro took a moment to really thank Hyun for letting him clap, as he would have never gotten this far without her very sussy help. Suddenly, after bro had his eyes closed as he was busy praying to the gods for a worthy opponent, he hears a majestic voice, and upon turning around to see who it was, bro found himself a mid-level witch with pink hair worth a crazy 50 points. Our boy then watched on with a lot of intrigue as the pink-haired witch ordered a teleportation portal to a place called Deadwood Graveyard. But upon the portal opening, our boy's caged behemoth began to awaken as he felt some kind of connection. But before the witch stepped through the portal, she actually took a moment to stop and look behind her before giving our boy a very sussy look, whilst already blushing without our bro even doing anything yet. So it looks like as if the next meal is already on the table. She then stepped through the portal to Deadwood Graveyard, but we all know Sung's wood is not dead right now, so bro decides to try and follow her, only for our boy to change his mind while on the teleportation platform. Instead of following his target to Deadwood Graveyard, bro changes plans midway and asks the steward to teleport him to his first ever dungeon without even inquiring about them first, so let's hope his IQ level is above room temperature. Regardless, after landing in the D-class dungeon named Dark Forest, Sung whips out his actual trusty greatsword and proceeds to try and look cool just in case some girls are around by pulling out a solo leveling pose. However, within just a few seconds, bro began to hear a bunch of footsteps running towards him, causing the sky to simultaneously turn red, so it looks like we are about to get some real action. Eventually, the footsteps reveal themselves as 3 female goblins locking onto him like he's some kind of unlimited free Jollibee buffet, so our boy gets into defensive stance mode, whilst dearly hoping that he can actually handle all 3 of them at once. Somehow though, bro does not run away, but instead he holds his ground as he watches all 3 goblins activate berserk mode after gap closing the distance between him and them by 10 meters. With nowhere else to go, and after making the decision to risk it all, Bro tells himself that there would be no way he is going to allow himself to get defeated now in a beginner-level dungeon, as that would prove to be too embarrassing. As such, Sung puts all his trust into his level 3 swordsmanship skill and attempts to do a combo he learned in high school, but after just one swing, all 3 goblins dropped like flies even though he was just aiming at one. But just when Sung thought he was in the clear that easy, another female goblin appeared out of nowhere and quickly jumped in front of him, but this one was 10 times the size of the earlier ones, looking very angry and also hungry, causing our boy to stutter in his brain. And unlike the other goblins, this one did not waste time, as it instantly went to make sure Sung's life force went to 0 by whipping out a 15-foot stone club, where it proceeded to directly aim for our boy while a bunch of other goblins began appearing behind it. One blink later, the Queen of Goblins launched its devastating attack using aimbot, but somehow our boy was able to deflect her strike right before it turned him into mush, leading to some substantial damage to Sung's hands. Meanwhile, back at the headquarters for the Silver and Gold Company, we find Hyun Bing chilling in a sauna, busy wondering what the heck our boy is doing since he has not picked up her calls for the past hour. It's then revealed that Hyun hurried to finish her mission early today just so she could try and spend time with him after getting her rice cake destroyed last night. So she starts overthinking whether or not her messages and calls was too clingy. But while busy pondering about if she should just leave our boy alone for a bit, Hyun gets ganked by 2 of her underlings at the company as they want to bring their Sunba along for drinks, but Hyun makes up the excuse that she's too tired today to join them. Nevertheless, once the coast was clear of anyone else in the sauna, our girl decides to stop calling Sung and instead chooses to activate her brain to cultivate her true sussy baka powers as she began imagining Sung's banana split sundae. Elsewhere, we find the same mid-tier witch from the association ominously looking off into the distance of what seems like the same area our boy was teleported to, busy watching from afar while telling herself that this time will be the last. Fast forward a couple hours later, inside the dark forest, it's revealed that our boy has defeated an entire army of goblins, including the queen of them all. So now Bro is sitting victoriously on top of them as he tries to regain his breath. After clearing out the entire dungeon full of enemies, Bro picks up all of his magic crystal loot from every single mob, where he then takes a teleport back out to the guilds, so he is able to hand everything in for a handsome reward. Upon plopping down the bag of crystals in front of another guild clerk, the clerk gasps and thanks him for our boy's hard work, busy thinking to himself that Sung collected everything with the party, only to be astonished when he found out Bro did it all by himself. With the revelation that Bro was a one-man army, the clerk smirks and apologizes for his rudeness, explaining to Sung that he heard rumors of a male hunter applying to join the association, so he was worried, but now he knows his worry was for nothing. Nonetheless, thanks to our boy soloing the entire dungeon by himself, Bro gets rewarded with 450,000 won, excluding all the fees, which is basically equal to around $350. With our boy's first hunt now completed, Bro starts to think that he can get rich from this, which means that he can buy any skin from any game he wants, plus he can use the leftovers to return the favor to Hyun's mom for looking after him all this time. Anyways, with Bro still on the grind to gain more power, our boy turns his eyes on the mysterious unknown pink witch, since she is the only one Sung has seen within the association with more than 40 points, and Bro needs that power as soon as possible. As such, our boy asked around to see if anyone saw where the witch went next, and after finding out that she ventured to the old tree's tombs, Bro smartly used the app on his phone to try and pinpoint where exactly she went, as the map is bigger than Grand Theft Auto 6. But after spending 15 minutes trying to scout out the location where the app was telling him she was at, Bro gets confused as he could not find her or anything else within vicinity other than a mysterious fog rolling in. Suddenly, as Bro was about to rip a silent yet deadly fart out since no one is in your earshot, he gets ganked by an unfamiliar noise which sounded more like a high-level monster type of shout, which clearly sent chills down Sung's spine. Regardless, with Bro still hell-bent on making sure he becomes one of the most powerful hunters to ever step foot on this fantasy world, our boy decides to follow the sounds in hopes that he might encounter her in the middle of battle. Sure enough, Sung's instincts prove to be correct, as he ends up finding the witch facing off against a rare spawn B-grade boss monster named Woodrello. So upon realizing that the weird sounds were coming from Woodrello, Bro stopped right in his tracks, as he knows he would have no chance against a B-grade anything, let alone a boss. So Bro sighs, knowing his luck might have ran out already. However, within seconds of making it to the battle area, Bro watched in awe as the girl was not nervous at all, so she quickly went on an offensive by leading with powerful wind magic coursing through her ancient yet expensive staff. With her first attack now fully channeled at maximum power, she unleashes it all and yells out Tornado, which instantly sends a chaotic bright light to illuminate the entire forest at once, causing both Woodrello and our boy to get shocked. Unfortunately for her though, the blinding light dispersed into absolute nothing, allowing for Woodrello to start laughing at the entire ordeal as it got scared for no reason at all, since the witch turned out to be harmless with her attack utterly failing. So with her ultimate tornado move delivering a solid 0-hit marker, the tree boss monster swiftly counterattacks by sending a bunch of fast-moving vines on the ground, which successfully took hold of the girl's legs in a very sussy way. Now unable to move due to all the vines constricting her movement, our boy was forced to jump into the fray and had to show up last second to rescue the pink-haired girl, or else she would have been obliterated right here, right now. Nevertheless, the witch gave our boy a lot of attitude for intruding on her mission, even though she was about to get clapped like no tomorrow, and the crazy part is that she began to berate him in the middle of our boy trying to escape, as she thinks bro is a sussy baka. After hearing the girl not be thankful at all, our boy began to cosplay the look of Hinata's family, almost looking like he wants to unleash the gentle fist on her, especially when she ordered him not to touch her. Nonetheless, as bro tries to channel his inner Gandhi to contain all the anger within him, he accidentally gets too distracted by the crazy girl, so he ends up tripping on a piece of rock, causing both of them to crash to the ground. At the same time, Woodrello was hot on their tails, so upon both of them crashing, it gave the boss monster the prime opportunity to unleash a final attack, but with nowhere else to run, the witch locked in and began asking for the wind to lend her its powers. And just when both of them were about to get eaten by Woodrello, our boy prepares for the worst, but then the girl was able to launch a real attack she named Screw Tornado, and much to our boy's surprise, it really dealt a massive blow. After successfully landing a critical hit, both our boy and the girl fall to their knees, as neither one could not believe how she just one-tapped a B-grade boss after failing to even summon a normal tornado attack in the first place. Anyways, after gathering enough composure to dust off their near-death experience, the girl gets up from the ground whilst blushing a little bit, busy ordering Sung to not say anything weird about this mission, since she was totally fine on her own. Upon seeing her go back to her totally demeaning attitude, bro tries his best to hold his true feelings, and so he lets her berate him again, as he really wants to slide into her magical bakeries very soon, since 50 points is 50 points. But before taking her leave to exit the gloomy forest, the girl gives Sung his props and thanks him whilst mentioning how refreshing it is for her to see a guy actually being useful in this world, rather than them being the usual hindrance she finds them to be. Regardless, as bro contemplates whether or not he should act like he needs some kind of help from her now to stop her from leaving his side, as he needs to pull an alpha skibidi Rizzler, Sung ends up getting an emergency quest arriving in his mailbox. Initially, our boy is annoyed that he keeps getting distracted, but upon opening the quest, it is revealed that the witch is actually a class A hunter named Yuri, and the reason why she is not living up to her potential is because of her sussy 1 versus 1 limit. Furthermore, Sung notices that the quest reward will give him an insane 100 points if he is able to unlock her true power by fully relieving her sussy wants and needs within the next 24 hours. As such, our boy sprung into action faster than Usain Bolt by catching up to her before she was able to teleport back to headquarters, where he then got close and stopped her by claiming that he has an urgent question to ask her. However, in Yuri's mind, she thought bro was going to ask her if she wanted to go on an adventure together with him sometime, but much to her surprise, our boy drops the bomb and straight up asks Yuri if she cannot use magic anymore. After dropping the bomb, like we got transported back in time to World War II again. Sung tries to innocently stand, hoping that he did not hurt her feelings, but she began to deny everything while yelling at him, explaining that she is a class A hunter. Nevertheless, our boy continues to believe that Yuri cannot conjure up any more magic, so she tries to prove him wrong by attempting to summon some low-level wind magic, only for her to continually fail, as not a single attack was successful. Yuri then tries to summon Wind Cutter 10 more times in front of our boy to no avail, so she eventually gave up and dropped to the ground looking helpless, as she cannot fathom what the heck happened to her once powerful skills. Now that Yuri feels absolutely useless and defeated for her magic randomly disappearing out of nowhere, Sung finally swooped in to save the day by claiming that he thinks he can help her as long as Yuri hears out Sung's plan of action. Desperate to get her powers and abilities back, she intently hears our boy out, but after answering a few questions related to her growth in magic, she gets stun-locked when bro asks her when was the last time she experienced rice cake smashing. However, with Yuri unable to say the magic 3-letter word out loud, bro seriously had to do some hand jutsu to try and explain what it meant, but it turns out she was too shy to even talk about the topic. Eventually, Yuri relented and began telling the truth, since she was initially too scared that our boy was busy setting her up just so he could tease her. So Yuri reveals to Sung that she has not experienced actual rice cake destroying in her entire life. Regardless, after hearing the magic word of Yuri being a Virgo, our boy's eyes instantly disappeared, where he then leaned in to whisper to Yuri that her mana flow is being blocked right now due to her pent-up sussy feelings. After hearing Bro blur out the reason why her magic suddenly went poof like your dad going out for milk, Yuri facepalms and refuses to believe his conclusion, so she starts to think Bro is one of those ultimate sussy bekas. Luckily, our boy activated Mega Brain mode and proceeded to explain to her that the only reason she was able to unleash her magic again earlier was because of her sussy hand movements while he was trying to save them from getting destroyed. Half an hour later of intense brain power usage, Yuri comes to the realization that Bro is actually right, but then it dawned on her that it means she is now a lost cause, as she thinks there is no way anyone would ever help her out with this. She then began to tear up, thinking that her hunter life is now over because no lowly man on earth would be able to cure her. So she started to plead out loud who is going to be her knight in shining armor, as she does not think those are real. With the sussy turntables turning again, Bro jumps in and tries his best rizzle her face before proclaiming that him, sussy Sung Jinwoo, wants to help her and would love to be the one to bring her back on track. Our boy then reaches his hands out in perfect time to Yuri, so of course she quickly took it, where she then made this entire scene look like a real romance anime by staring into Bro's eyes and asking if he truly meant his words. But before Sung was able to reply, Yuri began profusely blushing whilst continuing to clarify if he meant with her, as she keeps thinking there must be a camera set up, as there is no way this is real. Bro then sighs after having to reassure her multiple times since it's getting old quick for our boy, but at least now he knows that Yuri's love language for sure has to deal with words of affirmation more so than physical touch. Speaking of love languages though, Sung's Ender Dragon has continued to grow down below, as he knows he's going to score very soon due to Yuri's low self-esteem, because most men in this world prefer tall blonde girls from Sweden rather than short ones. So it's no surprise Yuri is lacking a lot of confidence, even though she ain't ugly. But let's be real here, she made up her shortfalls in the height department by maxing out her watermelon slider like the other girls. Anyways, our boy wants to seal the deal as soon as possible before his banana split Sunday loses steam, so Bro giggles and tries to play off a friendly compliment by calling Yuri very cute. However, after seeing our boy smile whilst hearing Sung give her a compliment, Yuri blows up on him and begins berating him, where she tells him to cut it out since no man would ever truly like her, so she orders him to be truthful with her. Upon hearing Yuri's response, Bro lost all of his cool like an unreformed Tyler one, where he literally faceplams so hard that the truth comes out, causing our boy to yell at her that he just wanted to rice cake destroy her. Now with the cat out of the bag, Brojet dashes forward and grabs Yuri by the shoulders while staring deep into her soul, giving him the opportunity to repeat himself out loud that he really wants to destroy that rice cake very badly, so he pleads with her to believe him. As such, the witch finally got the hint, so she instantly got rid of her robes to prove to our boy that she is down for the count now. But before they can proceed to a real sussy duel, Yuri asks Sung to prove himself by showcasing her his true dragon powers. Unfortunately for our boy though, Bro was not ready for her to reveal her true sussy beka side right this instant, as he thought they would do it at a more civilized place like a bedroom instead of a dark forest where they can get ganked by monsters. Regardless, Yuri evolves into a supreme sussy baka when she whispers to him to relax since everything will be perfectly fine, whilst quickly pushing him down to the ground just so she could unravel his dragon behemoth herself. But as she tries real hard to bring the house down to unleash his kraken, she fails to figure out how to navigate a zipper, as she has never seen a male version one before due to her always using a skirt or robe instead. Nevertheless, after like 10 minutes of Yuri being on the struggle bus, she instead opts to use her magic to burn down the zipper, which quickly solved all of her problems, as she has now finally removed the door in front of Sung's dragon long sword. However, when the door came flying off into some bushes, our boy's banana tree came rushing out like a wrecking ball, which accidentally slapped Yuri directly across her face, causing her to simultaneously gasp and be shocked at what just happened. Of course, our boy is a king, so he quickly apologized for the size of his Excalibur, as he did not mean to play whack-a-mole with her. But Yuri did not mind at all, since we can clearly see her eyes disappear like a true sussy beka. With her eyes now gone and with her still having the Asian blush, our boy locks in as he knows it's time to destroy her nexus, especially when Yuri ends up telling him that she is fully ready to unblock her mana flow to bring back her unlimited power. Bro then smirks and thinks to himself that it's far better for him to risk it all now in a forest rather than give Yuri the chance to change her mind, even though now he has to make sure to be careful, or else a leaf or a stick might end up in the wrong place. Suddenly, as our boy is too busy making sure he is sitting in a very nice spot where nothing else can invade from behind him, he hears Yuri telling him to just stay still, as she apparently wants to lead and do everything by herself. But right before she long jumped directly on his dragon fruit, Bro caught her in mid-air, causing her to be confused as to why he stopped her, only for our boy to tell her to slow down, as it's way better slower instead of rushing things. Nonetheless, with their 1 versus 1 duel paused before they could even experience the roller coaster ride, Yuri looks away a bit frustrated as she wanted to jump the gun only for Sung to start asking her questions about her previous experiences. Bro then began cosplaying an interviewer for no reason at all. But then it's revealed that he is actually big brain as he just wants to make sure he gains maximum points by figuring out all her sussy likes and dislikes, allowing him to knock the quest out of the park. But as he continues to interview her like a news anchor, Bro began to directly attack the watermelons in front of him, while yapping, causing Yuri to look like she just experienced bliss. The sussy turntables then turn when our boy proceeds to waste more time by asking random questions unrelated to rice cake destroying after gaining all the information he needed just so he could go and try to make Yuri more desperate for a special attack. And as he teases Yuri with his legendary mythical dragon fruit, Bro continues to play with her twin pyramids of Giza, knowing full well that it's her current weak spot, causing her to be more in tune her sussy side. Regardless, after seeing Yuri act like she's about to do some explosion jutsu without Sung having to use his ultimate weapon, Bro proceeds to trek through to her treasure gates to see whether or not a pool is formed, since that would mean phase 2 of his plan is ready to activate. However, upon using his hands to figure out Yuri's water level, Bro gets shocked to find out that this witch is literally dry like the Sahara, even though he has been trying his best to really get Yuri ready for his offensive. Nevertheless, Bro tries to back out as he does not want to give an unpleasant first-time attack, but our boy ends up hearing Yuri scream at him to send his ancient battering ram in right now to prove his worth, so Sung obliges by her wishes. As such, our boy places his $1 jumbo hot dog right at Yuri's gates, but before the gates were breached, Bro leaned in super close to ask Yuri if she wants to end everything right now, because it seems as if she is not interested in him at all. With Sung's Korean cheesy corn dog ready to really make headway, Yuri finally comes clean and explains that she really wants to gain experience in the sussy 1v1 department to get her magic back, but she's nervous as she is new to everything. After hearing Yuri finish her speech about her novice-level sussy life, our boy's eyes disappear and a dark aura begins to surround him, where he then quietly asks Yuri how important magic is to her. Luckily for her though, our boy is not a super menace yet, so he reminds her if she really wants her powers back, then she needs to stop being a nuisance and to stay still just so he can work his own magic to bring everything back for her. Nonetheless, our boy digs deep and channels his flash mode to go sicko mode on Yuri's double hopper meals to try and get the river flowing, as the entire thing banks on his ability to make sure she is ready for the 1v1. Eventually, after Sung tires out most of his fingers from his intense skilling against Yuri, Bro pulls back and gets ready for another wave by cracking his fingers whilst asking if Yuri feels some magic flowing within her already. Turns out, Yuri's river has finally begun flowing and it looks like she's already primed for phase 2 of their duel as hard eyes started to take over her, so we all know she means business. Now super frustrated that Bro has not unleashed his max level Vandal on her yet, even though her water fountain is clearly leaking like mad, she took the matters into her own hands by backing up her dump truck right against Sung. Of course, our boy does not budge as he lets Yuri park it right onto his ultimate weapon on her own accord, so upon finally breaching the heavily fortified gates, Bro smiles and congratulates Yuri for not being a Virgo any longer. Regardless, after cosplaying One Punch Man to become One Thrust Man, Yuri instantly unlinks and complains that she would prefer a different area of the sussy battlefield to continue on. So she instead decides to hop on train Sung as she prefers being in the stronger position. After slowly linking their souls again, Yuri begins to shake uncontrollably as she descends and ascends against our boy's awakened dragon fruit, causing her to close her eyes due to a weird feeling take over her emotions. However, Yuri slows down her offensive after a single minute since she realizes that she is quickly falling in love with rice cake destroying. But this was never part of her plan, as she just wanted her magic back. Suddenly, with the witch not moving and too busy thinking about her feels, she randomly feels Sung's enhanced great sword twitch randomly within, so she smiles and asks Sung if he is about ready to do some explosion jutsu. Meanwhile, our boy sighs and explains that he really wants to, but she's taking too long with her abrupt stoppages, so Bro straight up tells her that they don't got all day. Unfortunately for our boy though, Yuri continues to act aloof and says nothing like an absolute savage. So Bro has to take the matters into his own hands as he decides to pick Yuri up to place her on the ground. Now that Sung has the advantage again, Bro quickly transforms into a jackhammer and goes ham like Canadian ham against Yuri, causing her to almost pass out from the sheer force from Sung's repeated skilled attacks. With seconds swiftly fleeting, Yuri begins to sound like she's become an opera singer from all the sounds she is making in the forest, while our boy is busy pledging to Yuri that he will eventually become stronger than her, so just she wait until that time comes. As Bro continues to ravage his opponent during their sussy 1v1 duel, he continues to get faster to the point that he made Yuri break the sound barrier, so our boy leans in even closer and informs her that even now, he's getting stronger. However, Yuri has no idea what Bro is yapping about, so she just says okay and goes along with it since she is too busy absolutely enjoying the entire ordeal, as she has never expected her first-time experience to be this amazing. Regardless, with Yuri stuck in the blissful sussy realm after crossing the finish line multiple times, our boy finds himself in trouble as he accidentally reached his limit, so he begins the ritual for his explosion jutsu within her. Mere seconds after finishing his intense explosion jutsu, Bro collapses to the ground right beside his opponent after filling them up with an entire gallon's worth of lactose-free milk. But Yuri tells him that entire duel was the best thing ever. She then starts laughing, which suddenly causes a notification to pop up for our boy, informing him that he has acquired some awakening points equal to 60, but he gained another 120 due to the bonuses and reward for completing the mission. With Bro gaining an insane 180 points, Bro goes to sleep totally exhausted, but fast forward to the next morning, it's revealed that Yuri joined the sleepover, but she was the first one to wake up ready to test her magic. Nevertheless, with her invisible armor still on, she instantly begins summoning her wind magic, causing our boy to wake up from all the leaves and air rushing to her hand. So Bro tries to ask her what's going on, but Yuri is too locked in. Soon after, massive dark clouds appeared on top of Yuri, while an intense magical force began to surround her. But then she turned to our boy after channeling her maximum power, so it looks like it's over for him now as her face is fully black like it's the month of February. With our boy rightfully worried that he did something wrong during their duel, she ends up unleashing a level 990 attack, but it barely grazes him as it turns out she was aiming right behind him. A crazy blinding light then whooshes through, where it is revealed that Yuri was actually aiming at Woodrello, who somehow reawakened after a full night's rest, so she basically saves him and turns Woodrello into a magical crystal. Yuri then picks up Woodrello's crystal core, looking the happiest she has been as her mana has finally returned, which means that she is back to her full power, so she ends up thanking our boy for returning her back to normal. However, our boy is not too happy due to the fact that she literally almost crushed him back to his respawn point because she did not say anything at all, or at least warn him that Woodrello was about to gank him. Nonetheless, Yuri profusely apologizes for not warning him about the impending danger since she was too in tune with her powers so she could not stop. But since she meant everything, she said she ends up giving him Woodrello's crystal worth 600,000 won. She then wicks out another magical core she got as a drop a long time ago and gives it to our boy, where she then tells Sung to keep both as a thank you for returning her powers and giving her the first kiss she always dreamt of. But since the first one was just a spur-of-the-moment type of deal, Bro went in for a real one as he wanted to grow a relationship with her, and after doing so, he could see another 50 points were up for grabs. Initially confused as to why he can gain points again, Bro just says screw it, since 50 points is 50 points, so he goes to catch up to Yuri and reels her in before asking her if she has any plans for today. After finding out that not only is Yuri free today and also tomorrow, Bro flashes the biggest smile ever before pulling her in even closer, where he then asks her if she wants to spend the entire day with him, as ending things now would feel disappointing. To no surprise to anyone, she agrees to go out with him again, but that ended up with the two teleporting back to headquarters, just for them to instantly teleport to a high-end hotel to do some more rice cake destroying. However, this time Yuri has something else in mind, so she drags him along to the next room just to clean up together, since they did spend a whole day probably stinking up a storm after all their sussy duels for the entire night. But after finishing cleaning up together, Yuri runs to the bedroom, where she then tells our boy that she plans to take the lead instead of him, so she orders him to get over here and lay down. Of course, our boy is not going to decline, so he quickly lays down, but before things could continue on, something is bugging him as he keeps getting reminded by Yuri mentioning how she does not want to get clapped by a man weaker than her. But since Bro will literally do anything to keep on rice cake smashing, he decides to be a sneaky link and says nothing about his abilities, leaving Yuri still clueless about his true power since he's technically still a weak man with only 2 wins on his record. Regardless, with Bro still busy thinking about ways to continually hide his true power level, Sung gets ganked and brought back to reality once he realized Yuri has begun their destruction anime arc part 2 by abruptly dropping on his battle bus repeatedly. However, after just a few seconds of attacking our boy's battle bus with Yuri's pink dump truck, Bro gets shocked to see that his opponent quickly crossed the finish line as Yuri yelled really loud before falling over. After a minute of reprieve, our boy lets Yuri regain some of her powers and energy again before proceeding to pick her up, as Bro does not want to end their sussy 1 versus 1 since Sung is not ready to explode his volcano yet. He then smirks upon placing Yuri back on his battle bus, where he then tells her that from now on she does not need to do anything as they are about to drop on tilted towers, and claims he will carry both of them at once. Now confused as to what he meant, she decides to play along, but within just a few seconds, she quickly found out what he truly meant as Bro unlocked level 2 of his rice cake destroying powers, causing her to hold on for her dear life. Our boy then continues to rapidly switch gear and levels up his attacks by the second as he too wants to reach the finish line, allowing for multiple hearts to begin surrounding not only Yuri's eyes but also her entire body. Soon enough, Sung unleashes a torrent of lactose-free milk into his very suspecting opponent, causing Yuri to collapse from the sheer intense force exceeding 69 gallons, making her fall directly on top of our boy. Nevertheless, after completing another perfectly fun and exciting rice cake destroying mission, a pop-up occurs informing our boy that he has gained another 50 awakening points plus an extra 10 bonus for how great it was. Fast forward to the next morning, it's revealed that the two ended up sleeping for over 12 hours straight due to their crazy rice cake duel last night, and upon waking up, our boy finds Yuri busy staring at him, patiently waiting for him to rise up. With Yuri already looking like she's the perfect meal for breakfast, the only thing that instantly rose up is Sung's Prince Behemoth hiding underneath the sheets, but I cannot blame him since we all know he is getting distracted by those giant twin pyramids of Giza. Nonetheless, our boy is a menace, so he interrupts Yuri mid-sentence and asks if they should go for another round before going out to eat breakfast, but Yuri finally gains some self-control and declines Sung's offer since she just wants real breakfast and not his cooked sausage right now. As such, Bro tidies up and goes out to eat breakfast at Yuri's favorite tavern, and upon finishing their plates, they both come out together looking like a sweet couple, where Yuri takes the opportunity to thank Sung for helping return her powers. Upon seeing her look very thankful for everything he has done for her, our boy decides to try out some of his Rizlord powers and hands Yuri his phone and tells her to prove how thankful she is by adding her phone number in his contacts list. Sure enough, Yuri did not hesitate in giving her phone number to him, so Bro orders her to call him anytime she needs her powers unleashed, as he will always be ready to make sure she passes out using his secret sussy jutsu. Now that our boy has Yuri totally under his fingertips, he straight up warns her to not even look at another man's direction or else he will never ever see her again, so this dude is literally that toxic menace all the girls want. Regardless, after hearing Sung be totally serious about wanting to be absolutely exclusive with her, Yuri ends up promising with her entire heart that she would never do such a thing, so it looks like this girl is a total lost cause, like Total Drama Island. With our boy somehow sealing the deal with no effort wasted, he proceeds to bring her in for a big, huge, compassionate hug as he cannot believe she went along with everything, so to top it all off, he goes and slaps the heck out of the bakery in front of him. After grabbing enough of her Big Apple from New York City, our boy pushes her away to leave, but as he walks off into the sunset, Bro is relieved to find out that the amount of points he can gain from a girl regenerates from 0 back to normal. 1 hour later, our boy finds himself back in his apartment and quickly gets ready to use up all the points he gained the past few days, so he thinks things are looking great for him as his leftover points will allow him to learn level 4 swordsmanship skills. But shortly after unlocking his brand new level 4 skill, Bro gets a message from his best friend Hyun wanting to hang out with him, so all his blood comes rushing down upon him, realizing that he is already ready for another round of rice cake destroying. The two then quickly agree to meet up at his place, and within just a few minutes of Sung sending the message, Hyun literally comes out of nowhere and bursts through his door looking like she's his #1 fan in the entire world. She then wastes no time and closes the physical distance between the two, already blushing profusely, without our boy saying anything yet, so it looks like Bro has already super tamed 2 opponents in less than a week, and one happens to be an S-tier warrior. Nevertheless, after seeing her look more down bad than anyone he knows, Bro takes the opportunity to instantly skip all the unnecessary small talk as he wants to set the sussy mood, since it looks like anything he does will always be perceived in a positive manner. After lifting his best friend on top of the closest kitchen table, Hyun is forced to stop Sung's advances as she reveals to him that she came here right away after work, so she did not have time to freshen up after a long day of vanquishing monsters. Luckily for her though, our boy is a menace to society since Bro clearly does not care if her spaceship is stinky or even full of sweat, so he decides to bring Hyun closer, while placing both hands on her deck whilst claiming she smells really nice. He then wiggles the crazy S-tier bakery non-stop for the next minute or two before cosplaying Spider-Man on Halloween with his fingers, but instead of saving the world, Sung went to invade Hyun's special cove, which made his hand very sticky. Now that he was able to confirm the sussy part of hers really wanting to do some rice cake destroying right here right now, Bro reminds Hyun that she was supposed to tell him right away whenever she wanted to do some sussy 1 versus 1 duels. As such, she finally comes clean and informs our boy that she wants to do the duel today, so Bro says good girl like a cringe lord, but Hyun does not mind him being one at all, so she was to freshen up whilst our boy agrees to prepare the food he promised her earlier. Bro then cooks up a storm like a real chef, and after devouring the entirety of the 5-star meal he prepared, our boy almost forgets that Hyun is still in the room since he almost falls asleep from the food coma setting in. Eventually, Sung opens his eyes and accidentally makes eye contact with Hyun, but this time it looks like she's wanting some dessert, and let's just say the dessert is not on the table right now, but rather it's right in front of her. Unfortunately for her though, just when she thought things are finally getting to move on in the right direction, Ro gets up to do the dishes, causing Hyun to go crazy, so she screams at him, busy wondering why he wants to do the dishes right now instead of her. She even goes as far as to stop our boy right in his tracks, constantly pestering him about starting the rice cake duel right now, whilst claiming that the dishes can wait, but she can't since she is the ultimate sussy baka. However, Sung informs Hyun that he does not feel ready right now since he just stuffed himself full of food, and it is quite a task to wake up his dragon fruit after eating, but still, Hyun continues to take the matters into her own hands instead. Nonetheless, with Hyun advancing faster than the One Piece manga, our boy had no choice other than to finally give in to her demands as she quickly falls to her knees upon seeing him reach for his zipper containing the caged dragon. With his hidden beast now unleashed, Hyun instantly swats away his hands and quickly locks onto it like a pro, where she then proceeded to devour the spicy chicken nuggets over and over again with no remorse. The sussy turntables then turn when our boy finds himself trying his best to fend off the imminent volcanic eruption, as he did not expect Hyun to go ham like American bacon on his Canadian sausage, since he almost crosses the finish line within seconds. As such, Sung is forced to stop his opponent and throws Hyun to the ground, causing her to wonder if she did something wrong, but our boy is busy muttering to himself how disappointing it would be if he accidentally spilled his lactose-free milk without even getting to the good part. So to return the favor to his best friend, Bro tells her to relax and explains that it's his turn to help her out, as he claims her sussy technique leveled up way too fast for him to properly handle. With Sung instantly repaying the favor like a true holy knight, sliding in to save a princess waiting for unlimited adventures, our boy fulfilled his mission. But just as Sung was about to cash in his Chad points, Miss Bestie pushes him away and challenges him to a one-on-one duel. No rules, no chill. Just straight up full power allowed. So our dude didn't hesitate. Nah fam, he immediately went full send mode, unleashing epic attacks from all angles like Goku just found the One Piece for the first time. Once he unlocked his true power, it was absolute chaos in the best way. Signature moves? Spammed. Ultimate after ultimate raining down faster than a Twitch chat spamming emotes. The sheer combo output was causing a mind wipe effect on Hyun, who was basically the IRL NPC with a power level that made Sung rethink all his life choices. But victory was finally his. So just when Hyun thought she could Final Destination escape the ordeal, Sung decided not. It's time for level 9001 and upgraded his attacks like he came from a double XP weekend. Fast forward to the next day. Our Shadow Legend had been raiding Hyun's treasure stash on repeat, skipping no breaks, ignoring bathroom calls, flexing focus levels even pro gamers only dream about. The result? Hyun Legit passed out from her chakra drain, and our dude scored a clean 80 awakening points. But Sung felt 80 is like getting a blue shell and not winning the race. An entire 2-day boss fight for 80 measly points? He low-key felt that grind was totally mid. So he decides to sweep through multiple targets instead of feeding all stamina into one over and over. So bro sat down, eyes glued to the hunting app like he was on Tinder swiping right for the next one. But after an hour of scrolling, he decided to dip for a bit because even a beast needs to recharge the mana pool. Next morning he wakes up, brushes his teeth, stares deep into the mirror like an anime protagonist about to receive his main quest, and notices full HP restoration. He feels fresh AF even after demolishing Yuri and Hyun back to back like they were tutorial-level enemies. Regardless, Sung stays lucky unimpressed and believes his swordsmanship leveling up to 3 is probably the reason he's basically the walking embodiment of an absolute Chad. So what does he do? He dumps all his awakening points into unlocking new skills. But instead of just maxing out the same overpowered moves again, he's finally choosing and picking skills he previously slept on, as he thinks it'll help with hiding his true powers as a solo. Anyways, fresh day, fresh drip, our boy enters the wild like a boss, ready to grind and glow up while absolutely making sure his awakening was hidden. It's 6 AM, bright and early, and when Sung scans the entire map, ghost town vibes everywhere. No mobs, no weird side quests, just eerie silence that soothes as heck. Naturally, our dude's spidey senses start screaming ambush incoming, because in these games, if it's too quiet, it's definitely a trap. Nonetheless, his brain began running scenarios like a well-scripted anime plotline, probably a squad of female hunters planning the ultimate gank on him. But Sung's confident any girl about to step up doesn't know his true power since he's basically the guy who can delete them from existence. Suddenly, his sussy senses exploded when he spotted an absolute goddess, a blonde stunner so iconic he could basically hear the unforgivable curse theme playing in the background from 69 miles away. He zooms in on her power level, a hopping 100 points. Hold up, 100? Our boy was shook harder than someone realizing their favorite wasn't in the new season. Originally, he wanted to be picky about targets, saying emotional connection is better than numbers like a true boomer gamer, but 100 points staring him in the face awakened the beast mode instantly. But wait, here comes the plot twist. Sung notices a token dangling from her like the ultimate flex, the aerial altar token, signifying she's basically the MVP of this tiny pond. Our bro's reaction? Big yikes. Facing her now would be like trying to clutch as the last alive versus a full team in ranked. Knowing when to hold him and when to fold him, Sung plays it cool and decides to back off. Big fish, small pond, and on top of that, the only sign of life he saw all morning? Now his plans switch from W to L real quick. Early hunt cancelled, it's a no thanks for now as he thinks no one really goes out this early anyway, so he might have better luck later on in the day. With their homeboy's plan A in the trash, he pivots harder than an MC, realizing the power of friendship. As such, he strolls into the Hunter's Guild, cool as a cucumber, and asks the clerk if he can teleport him to Peregrine Pasture. The clerk's brain instantly buffered and was audible. He started stuttering like his Wi-Fi disconnected, then snatched his glasses off, eyes wide like saucers. Nani? Hold up, protagonist Kun, the clerk probably wanted to say, but settled for sir. Male hunters are kinda restricted there. It's not exactly safe for you since it's very dangerous. Sung, however, was powered by plot armor and sheer resolve. He didn't even flinch. Straight-faced, he hit the clerk with, "Fine, I'll sign a responsibility vow because you know I'm built different." Hearing responsibility vow was apparently the cheat code. The clerk's heart did a full 360 no-scope because apparently nobody ever says that. If anything happens, you get zero compensation, the clerk warned, though his tone suggested he was already mourning Sung's life. Finally giving up on protecting this walking death wish, the clerk slid over the paperwork. Regardless, Sung signed his name with the flourish of someone who knows he's about to go goblin mode, and poof, he was teleported straight into the C-rank dungeon. First thing that caught his eye, a whole squad of black-headed eagles. These guys are basically the internet trolls of dungeons, always in groups, flying types are overpowered, and of course universally feared. But Sung had literally 2 seconds to think, okay, maybe I can just chill here for a sec, when boom. A mega-sized eagle, looking like it chugged 5 energy drinks, yanked him from behind with barely any warning. But Sung's got them new skills. He did the anime dodge. You know, the one where they lean back impossibly far and whipped out his sword. One clean swing, no sweat dropped like a total boss, obviously, and the eagle was folded like laundry. Skill issue on the bird's part, really. Then he spotted the rest of the flock circling in the distance. Petty king that he is, Sung flipped them off before unleashing his brand new move he learned that morning, Fire Arrow. The sky turned into a literal firework display. So bro cleared the entire pasture faster than you can say skippity toilet, probably under 2 minutes flat realistically. His only dilemma now was figuring out how to collect all that loot scattered across the roasted landscape from miles away. Fast forward an hour. Sung was still there, perched on a literal mountain of monster drops, looking bored out of his mind. Clearing too fast would draw too much attention, and who needs that kind of drama? While waiting, he was scrolling through the awakening shop, totally bored out of his mind. But he stumbled upon an OP item, the unidentifiable mask. Description: shield's age, gender, and even shape. Perfect for the mysterious stranger arc he was going for. He copped it instantly with his remaining points. Putting it on, he realized, okay, this kinda makes me look like a cringy edgelord from a bad anime. But hey, a man's gotta commit to the bit. So he teleported back to HQ, mask on, and holy smokes, it worked. Nobody even batted an eye. He was basically a ghost. It was low-key bussin'. Unfortunately, the plot decided to throw a curveball. He accidentally ran into Yahello out in the wild. And guess what? Turns out the mask doesn't work on people who already knew him. Bruh, Sung felt scammed. Where's the refund button? He wondered, feeling betrayed by the shop's misleading description. Regardless, the next day he got summoned to the guild. Despite his best efforts to tank his clear time in the pasture, they promoted him straight to C rank. He had an epiphany. Maybe they think he's a female hunter because of the mask and got confused. Is this gender-bend plot armor? Whatever. A rank up is a rank up. He accepted, feeling the power surge. More privileges unlocked, including straight access to B-rank dungeons. He wasted zero time. Teleport me to the abandoned city, he told the clerk, stone-faced. The very place where his parents' demise played out like a horrific cutscene. It was revenge time, baby. The crybaby kid who was powerless was back, ready to flex on the final boss. Nonetheless, Sung walked up to the massive half-dragon thing, zero fear in his soul. "Hey, wake up. It's time for the boss fight," he declared, total anime protagonist energy radiating from him. As the beast stirred, it clapped someone flying from behind it. Sung froze. He saw a figure fly past, but the thought of helping died instantly. "Nah, not my problem. Don't want to get one shot," he reasoned. But because Destiny apparently loves dramatic reveals, the figure tumbling through the air was none other than the blonde elite from the day before. Well, this just got interesting. After the girl literally drops out of the sky like she was ice skate or something, she lands right on Sung. Does she even say, "Oh, thank you for not letting me go splat"? No, she's just locked in, eyes glued to the monster like it owes her rent. But Sung still tries to make small talk and asks if she's watching the Stanley Cup Finals. Then bang, she yells, "Dodge, Becca," because apparently bro totally forgot he was mid-boss fight and a claw bigger than his entire life savings was coming in hot. Luckily, Sung's agility stats are kinda cracked. He pulls off a last-second dodge that saves both their HP bars from depleting. That claw was sharper than Sword Art Online swords, almost giving them unwanted haircuts. Then Blondie informs him that the monster's weakness is its eyes. She then proceeded to order Sung to listen up and run straight towards its face, no questions asked. However, Sung hesitates for a moment since she wants him to run towards the giant death pincers. But he remembers this girl isn't just some random. She's still from the altar, probably built different. As such, he decides to simp for her and musters enough strength to yeet himself high into the air because the queen demands it. Mid-air, Blondie hits him with the "Watch This, Senpai" before whipping out a skill that looked like some peak magical girl transformation sequence, conjuring a bow made of pure magic. She fires her special move and time kind of freezes. Reality check, epic fail moment incoming. She totally whiffed it. Sung could not believe his eyes and yells at her, "Hey, you missed. That was a wide open shot." Blondie immediately goes full tsundere rage mode, blaming him instead. "It's your fault, Becca. You moved. My aim is perfect. You just messed up my trajectory," she says. While they're having this peak comedy moment and losing focus faster than a toddler with a tablet, the monster goes, "Nah, my turn," and hits them with a blistering fire attack. Almost a simultaneous one-hit KO. Luckily, Sung barely dodges, tumbling apart from his princess. But as he's bouncing, he sees Blondie. She reloads her skill instantly like she has infinite mana hacks. Blondie, mid-tumble recovery airborne pose, beams it again. Critical hit. Like anime-level critical hit. The beast just shuts down. Crashes to the ground like its server disconnected. One shot. Sung is legit stun-locked to her absolute power level showcase. Then bro hears him yell at him from the sky, "Lock in, stupid. Catch me right now." Luckily, Sung's catch percentage is high. He doesn't mess it up this time. He's still reeling, but still ends up complimenting her skills while the monster that gave him trauma explodes right in front of him like the end scene of Your Lie in April. Anyways, abandoned city cleared. Plot progressed. And get this, Blondie actually shows her nice side. She's not about that phantom tax life. She lets Sung claim the loot drop. The entire loot table is his. Sung says his thanks, squats down like a goblin to loot that sweet, sweet gold since can't say no to free money, period T. While bagging his wins, he introduces himself, but the Blondie takes a dramatic pause, contemplating whether revealing her name is worth it. But then she finally drops it. "I am Shihi." She's a B-rank hunter, but says she is about to get promoted to a rank soon. Nevertheless, Sung hears the A-rank brag and immediately begins trolling her. "Oh, a rank, right? And you missed that shot. The one you blamed before?" As such, Shi's face gets redder than a grimace shake, so they continue doing some playful bantering. But then, a wild pop-up appeared. System alert, sudden mission. Help Shi activate her peak form. Reward, 200 points. After seeing the reward, Sung is hard stun-locked due to 200 points, plus the base 100. That's like a major power level jump if completed. But he looks at Shihi. She's got that pure tsundere energy, built diff, the total definition of annoying and prideful. He asked himself, is 300 points worth the agony? Eventually, he snaps back to reality just as she is about to dip, bored of him not replying. Gotta act fast, he thought to himself, so he swallows his pride, the ultimate beta move, and asks her if she is willing to party up. She misinterprets his offer instantly. "Nani? Party up? Do you think I, Shihi, future a rank hunter, need help getting my promotion?" She goes on a whole 5-minute rant, peak cringecore. Sung just stands there, nodding, knowing full well if he says literally anything, she'll rage with the area, so he gotta endure the training arc. Finally, he somehow convinces her, telling her to give him a chance to show her she isn't an ordinary guy, so he just needs a little bit of time. But surprisingly, the queen accepts. Guess the grind is on.